Why does religion stay strong in some parts of America? It's not just about faith. It's about history, economics, and institutions. In the South and Appalachia, a region often called the Bible Belt, churches became powerful long before modern government reached daily life. The Great Awakenings of the 1700s and 1800s left a deep mark. Revival meetings focused on personal salvation and local congregations, not distant church hierarchies. It built a culture where authority rested with the preacher down the road, not with bishops or elites far away. Unlike the Northeast and Midwest, which absorbed waves of Catholic, Lutheran, and Jewish immigrants, much of the South stayed overwhelmingly Protestant. With little religious diversity, evangelical churches became the main public institutions. They weren't just places of worship. They were the center of community life. In much of the South, churches grew strong because other institutions never did. Local government was small, schools were scattered, and people leaned on each other instead. Over time, the church became the place that held everything together, where people turned for help, guidance, and belonging. Black churches became the backbone of African American communities after Reconstruction. Shut out of political power and equal public institutions, Black congregations built their own schools, social networks, and mutual aid. The church was the one place fully under Black control, a center of leadership and survival. White evangelical churches also anchored their communities. Even with segregated schools and hospitals that favored whites, public institutions were still limited, especially in rural areas. Churches carried more weight as the steady hubs of daily life. They shaped social norms and community identity. Demographic shifts deepened the divide. The Northeast and West drew workers into diverse urban settings. With many faiths and civic groups in play, no single religion dominated. Over time, urbanization and pluralism encouraged secularization. However, the South, more rural and more Protestant, kept its churches at the center of daily life, a pattern that endured. Fast forward to today, and the church's role is still economic as much as spiritual. Across the South and Appalachia, communities receive billions in federal support. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and food assistance all flow in. But how those programs are perceived makes the difference. Entitlements like Social Security and Medicare are trusted. They feel earned. You worked, you paid in, you get something back. Other forms of support, like public schools, welfare, and local services, are often seen as inefficient or unevenly managed. Years of underfunding, staff shortages, and red tape have made them harder to rely on. Trust in churches runs deep, partly because public institutions never earned the same confidence. When local schools or agencies struggle to deliver, people turn to the networks they know, their congregations and pastors. In much of the South and Appalachia, churches still do much of the work that local government handles elsewhere. Food assistance, housing help, small grants, a person who answers the phone. Public agencies, often short on staff and reach, never built that same presence. So when people think about where their money should go, they fund the institutions that have always delivered. That's why there's less interest in expanding government services. The help they need already comes from somewhere else. If you like this video, please give it a like. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more.